Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar Ali. In this video tutorial, we will learn how to create a calculation based on dynamic scenario for returning the current and previous year balances up to a certain date. So in this video tutorial, we will be extracting the balances for a specific month, that is July. So we have a data. It starts from January 2023 till July 15th, 2024. So initially, if you are already using Microsoft Power BI and you want to calculate the current period month balance with respect to the same period last year July balance, what happens that the DAX returns the entire month balance. But what we need here is we need to return the previous year time period balance, exactly what we are seeing from the current period. So we need to restrict that up to a certain date dynamically. Okay. So let's get the fundamentals clear first, and then I will show you how to write the DAX and what are those techniques. So I have a data here, and you can see there are a few columns in my data. This is related to the sales data, and this is a fact table. Okay. So we have order ID, then we have customer ID, then we have order dates, order priority, quantity column, SKU, unit sell price, discount, shipping amount, ship mode, and product container. So we have several columns in our data. What we don't have here is we don't have the net sell price. What is net sell price? Net sell price will be basically a calculation that will unit sell price. We need to subtract the discount from that, so we will get net sell price, and then net sell price will be multiplied by the order quantity, so it will give the order amount for each of the record raw by raw, right? So we need to do certain calculations here as well. So either we can add some calculated columns, or alternatively we can write an explicit measure to solve it. Okay, so I will show you how to do that. Now this is our data. Next thing which I have done here is I have created a dimension date table with the help of DAX. So there could be many other possibilities to create a dimension date table, and it could be like a user can import from an Excel file a dimension date table, or can import from any live source. It could be SQL Server. For now, in this example, I have created this dimension table through a DAX, which says I want to add columns, calendar, auto, and these are the custom columns, or you can say calculated columns, which I have driving from this DAX, and this has been extracting the year, quarter number, month name as per my requirement. Okay, I have also mentioned this DAX as in my post on LinkedIn. So if you are on LinkedIn, you can add me, Rahim Zulfikar Ali. This is my profile, and just 3 days before I have posted that what are the benefits of creating the date dimension table with a short template and a short video as well. Okay, or you can visit my profile for more information if you want to connect with me, right? All right, so now what we have done so far is I have imported the data from an Excel workbook, which is a fact table that is related to the sales, where we have different columns as I just showed you in the Excel file. Okay, now we need the net sell price and order amount column. So here we can add a calculated column by creating a new column. So instead of increasing the size and depending on the performance speed, what I will do is I will use a DAX called SUMX instead of adding those separate calculated columns. Okay, so that will create the same motif for me. Another thing which I need to make sure that I have one fact sales table and one DimDate, which is a dimension date table right here. I need to also check that if a relationship is built or not. So I will go to model view, and I can see I have a sales table and dimension date table. I need to create a relationship as well before I proceed to writing a DAX with that solution. So you know that you create a relationship by identifying a common column between a fact and a dimension table. So we will connect order date by date in the dimension date table. So simply drag and drop to it. That will open up a window, and click on save. and that's create a relationship for me here. Another way of creating a relationship is you can click on manage relationship button and you can click on new relationship, where you need to identify and select the tables and column out of it. So this is another way. Okay, now let's alright, so let's start with the very first calculation. We need the sales amount, so we'll click on new measure. Alright, so let's give a name to this measure as sales amount. Alright, and we will be using SUMX DAX. Okay, so it's has the ability to calculate raw by raw. So first argument is to define the table name, so the table name is sales, and then the expression. So what we need is we need the unit sell price. Okay, that will be subtracting the discount, right, like this, and then it will further multiply by quantity, order quantity. Okay, and let's put it raw by raw so that you can understand easily. So what we are doing is we are performing a calculation raw by raw from the fact sales table, and what we are trying to do here is a simple calculation. Unit sell price will be having subtracting a discount, whatever the discount we have given, and then further multiplying by the order quantities. Alright, so let's put the sales amount here on this visual, that is table, and now it shows us the amounts, but this is basically for 2023 and 2024 together. So we need basically a slicer as well for the year, so let's put it here. Okay, all right, so this is the year slicer. So we can see that 2024 from Jan to July 37, right? So if I go to my Excel sheet manually, and if you can see here, I have the similar amount 10,737, which is basically for the current time period. That is, we have the latest month July here in this particular data, July 2024, for 15 days from 1 till 15. Okay, and if I do the sum for these 15 days, I can get 10,737. Now what I want is the similar kind of a thing. I want to compare the exactly 15 days from 2023, right? Now what happens, let's see if I create another explicit measure, and we will see the what is the issue behind it. Explicit measure as previous year, and we start with our DAX called calculate. The first argument is expression, so we will put here sales amount, which is basically gives the sum of the entire column, right? We have learned how to do that. So we are calling explicit measure inside it. Then the filter, in the filter we'll say same period last year, and we have a dimension date table. So we have DimDate, and we will pick the date column, and we'll close the bracket. Now I will drag this explicit measure to this particular visual. That what it returns 75,149 for 2023. Okay, let me just quickly format this as well. This 75,149. Okay, now that is for the entire month of July for the previous year. I mean that could be the 31 days for the July, not just for 15 days. So this is cannot be compared very accurately, right? Now if I go back to my data here, and if I go above, so you can see here this is 75,149, which is exactly the same here, right? But what we want is we want this particular balance. This is basically just 15 days from the previous year, so that could be a much more logical and comparable rather than I am taking the entire month for the last year and certain days from the current year. So I hope you understood what we are trying to do. So from this particular explicit measure and this logic, this is not happening, right? So we want previous year period, again similar kind of a days from the current year and from the previous year as well. So it to dimension date table, and here we will create one calculated column by applying some logics. Okay, so let's get start. find the name here. So we'll name as IsPast. Okay, let's go to the next line. So we are creating a variable here. So we'll name first variable as last sale date, okay, equals to max, and that is coming from sales order date, bracket close. Then again, next line, one more variable. I will also explain this. Let me just finish first writing the logic. So the next line, next variable is name is last sale date previous year. Here py means previous year, okay, equals to edate, bracket open. Let's call the variable first last sale date here, and then minus 12, okay, bracket close. So return. So we have dimension date table. We'll call the date column should be less than equals to last sale date previous year. Now what this logic is, now let me explain the logic here. See, I mean, very simplified, the primary goal of this DAX code is to determine if a given date is older than a year from the most recent sale date. Okay, so if I start with this first line, okay, this line finds the latest order date from the sales table and stores it in a variable called last sale date. The next line, this line takes the last sale date and subtracts 12 months from it using the edate function. So the result is stored in last sale date previous year. And when we call about the returns, so what it's doing, this line checks if the current date in the dimension date table is less than or equals to the last sale date previous year. So if the date is older or equal to the date 1 year before the last sale, the result will be true, otherwise it will be false. So when I press enter key, so you can see that it creates either creating a true or false. Okay, this is the basically the main logic here. Now the next thing is we want to do here is we will go to the sales table and we will create an explicit measure that will accurately give us the 15 days of July for the last year. Okay, previous year, or you can give any other name you would like to. So I have given a name adjusted previous year. We start with calculate, again sales amount, this will remain the same period last year. Okay, and we know that we need to define the date, so these are in the dimension date column, dimension date table and date column. So let's close the bracket, comma, and now here is the logic. We will call this dimension date table and the column is IsPast is equals to true, and let's close the bracket here. This adjusted previous year column, which is 22,485. So if I go to my data, you can see in the Excel I have made the manual calculation. This is for the 15 days from the last year 2023, exactly the same balance which we have got here, rather than this one for the entire month. And what happens when I update this data, for example, now some more data gets appended into this record. If I get the next date 16, so this current balance will be changed, and automatically and dynamically this balance will also get updated as well. This will remain the same because we have the historical data for 31 days of July, so this will not be impact, but this will impact as well. Okay, let me show you one example. So what I'm gonna do is, let's say if I add one more date here, and let me call it as 16th of July now. Okay, and let me save this file. Now let me refresh. So I will click on refresh and see these two amounts will get updated. So see, this will remain the same, but now these are balances for first from 16th of July. So these are, So I hope you like this video. Thank you.